Jai Bhim, Jai Mulyavasi all, and welcome you all once again to MNT News Network. Today is Sunday, and as all of you know, every Sunday we are organizing this special session in English so that the southern part of the country, as well as the NRIs who are staying abroad, they will be also connected with us on the social revolutionary movements and what contributions also forefathers had done and how they are contributed and how they had spread the fully Ambedkarite ideology or the ideology of equality, humanity, and fraternity. So this is the basic purpose. So today also we are going to discuss on one of our forefathers' social revolution and his contribution. As you all of know that today is February is specific 10th of July. Sorry, 10th of July is specifically a death anniversary of Guru Ravidas, Sant Ravidas, and today we are paying tribute to him through MNT News Network. So today we are going to discuss more about Ravidas ji and his social revolutionary movement. Specifically, he had contributed more during the 15th and 16th century, and his dohas and his writings are utilized or used in many of the literature or even in the Guru Granth Sahib. Also, we could find his dohas and his revolutionary ideologies and ideas. So specifically, Ravidas ji is known in the north of the India, but as far as the southern part of the country is considered, very few people know about him. So effort has been made today to elaborate more on his personal life as well as his overall contribution, social contribution. Because specifically he is normally known for his bhakti movement, but was his entire movement only a bhakti movement or it was a revolutionary movement? That is the focus of today's discussions. So today we had with us one of the great, one of the contributor. He is a geoscientist, but he is very awakened and he is trying to elaborate and trying to awaken more of our masses so that they will come to know more and more about our forefathers. So let me welcome Sarvind sir. Sarvind sir, Jai Bhim, Jai Mulyavasi, and welcome you to MNT News Network today.
Jai Bhim, sir, and I'll thank to MT this
MNT News Network.
MNT News Network for organizing this occasion, because this is an occasion related to our great revolutionary Saint Ravidas. And I also thanks to everyone all from India and abroad who are watching this MNT News Network. As everybody know that the MNT News Network is organizing session, and their intellectual discussions are going on in that series. Today we'll be discussing about the contribution of Saint Ravidas towards social change, social reform, social revolution. So I welcome everyone, and I would like to focus on the essential feature that has been contributed by Saint Ravidas in country as well as in the abroad. See, we know that Saint Ravidas was a poet, he was a revolutionary, and he fought for the justice. So I'll try to articulate Saint Ravidas in some terminology and in some categorization. First, I'll try to narrate his contribution in the form of social reformer. What I see that in the era of Ravidas, which he was propagating and teaching the idea of social justice and equality. Similarly, there was Kabir, there was Nanak, and other personalities who were fighting against Brahmanism, and other personalities like Tulsidas and Surdas and other personalities who were advocating and supporting Brahmanism, which is a form of inequality. So there was a great fighting between philosophy of equality and philosophy of inequality. See, what I'm thinking that Sant Ravidas was a philosopher, because today you can find that there are million who are galvanized by the philosophy of Radas in India as well as abroad. There are many followers, there are many practitioners who are following and practicing the ideology which has been taught by Saint Radas. Why we are using Saint? Because Guru is a kind of uh, uh, inclination and signature from Brahmanical realm. However, the many writers have attributed Sant Radas as a Guru Radas or whatever it may be. But this Sant is a meaning which is related to revolutionary ideas and reform. So now let us see some contribution by Saint Radas. What does he say? That there should be a society which should be based on equality, liberty, and fraternity, and this society should be equal. In that relation, he said that ऐसा चाहूं राज में जहां मिले सबन को अन्न. He want to make a state, he want to make a society, he want to make a nation where everyone should be equal. ऐसा चाहूं राज में जहां मिले सबन को अन्न. Everybody should be equipped with all the resources. No one should be hungry and no one should be desperate. What the idea he was trying to propagate in the form of philosophy, in the form of theory. So his theorization was in that direction, that ऐसा चाहूं राज जहां मिले सबन को अन्न, छोट बड़े सब संब से रैदास रहे प्रसन्न. So what does he trying to say? That there must be equality and everyone should be equal before the system, before the state. So there he was trying to articulate a state, he was trying to articulate a country, a nation where everyone should be equal. And after his period, just if you see that in India, there were many reformers, or many people say that they were social revolutionary. Let us say Vivekananda or Jyotiba Phule or Rajaram Mohan Roy. They came after Radas and Kabir. So before them, even the socialism which was in its full swing, before that, Radas had made a basic and essential elements of socialism in his poem, and he was just dreaming that he want Begumpura. See, a socialism or a kind of society where everyone should be equal and all resources should be controlled by state. That is socialism. But Radas was also saying the same thing, that there's in his notion, in his concept, there was a sense of socialism. So we can say that in his period, he was just advocating socialism. And at the same time, he was just advocating a society. Nowadays, people used to call it utopian society. Utopian society means a dream where a philosopher dreamed that there should be equality, everyone should be free, and everyone should be free from bondage, there should not be slavery, and everyone should be regarded as per their merit, as per their quality. So, if we articulate Sant Radas as a point of his philosophical and theoretical background, then we can say he was propagating a philosophy that is called utopian philosophy. Many people say that Karl Marx has propagated a utopian philosophy, but see the essence that has in the literature and poem and philosophy of Ravidas. Though this connection has with Buddha, who has been accepted as the first revolutionary in India. See, Buddha has given its concept of social justice, equality, liberty, and fraternity. The same philosophy is continued in the poem of Saint Ravidas. And he also said that everyone should not be bondage, they should not be slave. Then what he had dreamed and propagated to the people that पराधीनता पाप है, पराधीनता पाप है, जान ले हुरमी. He was telling to the people that, hello friends, or to the people, please listen me, that there should not be slavery. If there is slavery, then humanity cannot survive. A people who are slave, they don't have a right. So he was fighting for their right also. पराधीनता पाप है, जान ले हुरे मीत, रैदास दास पराधीन सो, कौन करे है प्रीत. He was telling that if anybody who is destitute, who is menial, or who is trivial, they don't have freedom, they don't have right. पराधीनता को दीन क्या, पराधीन बेदीन, रैदास दास पराधीन को सब ही समझे हीन. He was indicating to the people that if a person who is trivial or substitute or downtrodden, or who is under the control of someone else, they always considered as a second citizen or third kind of citizen in the country or in the society. And this was very much prevailing in the country in the era of Brahmanism and in the era of inequality. Brahmin is another name of inequality. In that unequal system, the people were not treated equally. Brahmins were given highest priority, and Shudras and untouchables were given lowest priority. And they have been treated, untouchables means they cannot be touched by people. In that direction, Saint Ravidas was fighting that their slavery must not be there, and he was advocating to the people that please be educated. He was focusing on education, that see, if you are not educated, he was telling that if you are not educated, because if we can refer to one poem by Ravidas, that ज्ञान काहू की संपत नाही, ज्ञान भरमत है जग माही. He was telling that knowledge is not property of anybody. Knowledge is free and it should be free to everyone. If knowledge is free, a person can be enlightened. They can be a personality of thinking person. If a person who can think, he can put logic. If a person who can put logic, he can challenge a system which is not fair and good for the society and country. So if a person who can put a logic, that person, whether he or she can change the society and can form a better system. So he was fighting against system and advocating that people should be educated, especially who are not allowed to be educated. So if we see that from poem of Ravidas, Sant Ravidas, he was educator, he was enabler of fighting against slavery. Again, I'll say he was a socialist. In his philosophy, there was a basic essence of philosophy. Even he was, if we can see from today or from contemporary scenario, then he was fighting against capitalism. See why I am narrating, because many people are advocating that the many good things are related to Veda. Now I am trying to say, why I am trying to say, because there is evidences and there are logic which prove that Saint Ravidas was a socialist and he was fighting against capitalism, because capitalism is a system where in the system or market controlled by private, not by state or by government. So in that direction he was asking that ऐसा चाहूं राज में जहां मिले सबन को अन्न छोट बड़े सब संबस है रैदास रहे प्रसन्न. In that direction he was advocating socialism, not capitalism. Now it is the era of crony capitalism and capitalism, where capitalism is not free from capitalist. Again, there is a different direction. So what he was trying to say that if you are not educated, if you are not free, if you are not free from any other clutches, means if you are not slave, then you can make different society. And in that direction, he said that to achieve the target of equality, liberty, and fraternity, or Begumpura. Begumpura means a kind of utopian society where everyone should be free. There should not be any problem. What kind of problem? Bread, butter, freedom, equality, justice, or any kind of growth. So these all related to the different kind of problem. He was trying to dream a state or a society or a nation where these type of problems should not be there. Then he has also advocated that if you want to achieve that goal, you have to be organized. So in relation to organization or to unite, then he said to the people that संत संगत मिल रहियो माधो जैसे मधुप मखीरा. संत संगत मिल रहियो माधो जैसे मधुप मखीरा. He was telling that please be united, please be in group. If you are not in group, if you are not in unity, then unequal system or the philosophy of inequality which has been envisaged by Brahmanical system or Brahmanical reformer, that will at least make you slave. So he was trying to say that please unite, and unity should be there to achieve the target of equality, liberty, fraternity, or you can say socialistic system. So what we can see here, that the idea of Saint Ravidas was modern, whereas the idea of Tulsidas was backward, because Tulsidas was advocating that शूद्र गवान ढोल पशुनारी सकल ताड़ना के अधिकारी. The Shudras, now OBCs, female and others who are ignorant, they should be treated as beating drum. But Radha said, no, they all have equal right. So see the difference. Why I am telling he's a philosopher, why I am telling he's a poet, why I am telling he's a revolutionary. Why? Because in his contemporary, there was a reformer in Italy, and they were advocating to their people. I have already narrated that In India, many reformers came after Ravidas. They are dominated in Indian literature. Why? Because there are numerous literature available for them, and there is no literature available for Saint Ravidas or this kind of ream. So what we need to do that, we need to do a quality literature's work, or we need to write actual thing about actual element about Sant Ravidas. Really, he was not propagating any bhakti. He was opposing bhakti. He was against superstition. He was against blind faith. He was supporting education, and he was rejecting inequality, superstition, and blind faith. So indirectly, he was rejecting the idea of God. And the idea of God was rejected by Buddha. The idea of God was rejected by Phule. The idea of God was rejected by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. And the idea of God was rejected by many philosophers who were agnostic. Though they were agnostic, but later on they have been killed and assassinated by Brahmanical forces using conspiracy. If you go to literature or if you study, then you will come to know that how even agnostic philosopher, I am not talking about atheist philosopher. Even agnostic means those who are doubting or those who are researching on God. So the philosophers who were agnostic and the philosophers who were just close to atheism, they have been killed by Brahmanical forces. And in that direction, Saint Ravidas was also assassinated and killed by Brahmanical and feudal forces. So what we need to understand now, that we need to have study, course of work, to do literature survey, to produce some quality work on Saint Ravidas, that what is the reality behind him. Actually, see what is the conspiracy. Even if you see there is a conspiracy against Saint Ravidas, what has been said that Ramanand was Guru of Ravidas. No, I reject it. And I am not authority to reject. What is the authority? Authority is the evidence of Saint Ravidas literature. What does it say? Charo Ved karo khandauti, Jan Ravidas kare dandauti. Those who will condemn and those who will reject the four Vedas, not only one or two, four Vedas, then I am ready to accept and surrender before the people, those who are rejecting the four Vedas. And Ramanand was a worshipper of Vedas. Then how it can be possible? Number one. Number two, that he was telling, ब्राह्मण को मत पूजिए जो होवे गुणहीन, पूजहि चरण चंडाल के होवे गुण परवीन. You may be knowing that Chandal was a Shudra community in West Bengal. So if I consider this poem in different direction also, what should be its literal meaning? That any Brahmin cannot be worshipped if they are not meritorious. And if a Chandal is there and he is meritorious or full of Shila or any quality, he can be worshipped, welcomed. Especially he can be welcomed. So, still we are not in a position to reject with numerous literature in India as well as in international journals who are acclaimed in social science or interdisciplinary studies, so that these all allegations which had been made, or the conspiracy which had been made against Ravidas, should be withdrawn. So we have to be aware about the conspiracy which has been made against Sant Ravidas. So this type of literature, this type of study, even slowly coming, but we need to produce a numerous literature, and we need to have agitation like Ravidas. So Ravidas has fought for people, and not only, see, if I can remember, Punjab, then UP, then Rajasthan, then Madhya Pradesh, then other state. These all states have teaching of Ravidas. So in that period, if Ravidas can do, because there was a regime of Mughal, I think, if I am correct, that may be because it was a 14th, 15th century. So in that direction, where they were aggressive, and they were not allowing people to educate. Even Mughal and Brahmins, they co-opted a kind of similar philosophy, similar ideology, and in that era also the situation of untouchables, even today SC, ST, OBCs, their situation in that era was also very bad. In that era also, Ravidas teaches people across the state, in Bihar, in UP, in Rajasthan, in Punjab, in Madhya Pradesh. And if I can remember, I have gone to Chennai also. There is a people who are following Ravidas. So what is the output? What we are discussing today? We must be aware what is enemy, who is enemy, and who is our friend. See, Ravidas has narrated the attributes and characteristics of Brahmins also. What he said? He said that, कहे रविदास सुनो भाई संतो, कहे रविदास सुनो भाई संतो, ब्राह्मण के गुण तीन. कहे रविदास सुनो भाई संतो, ब्राह्मण के गुण तीन. मान हरे धन संपत्ति लूटे, मान हरे धन संपत्ति लूटे, और लियो मति छीन. What Phule made people aware, especially Phule cautioned. Mahatma Jyotiba Phule cautioned to the people that be aware of this fraud. When Sant Ravidas has done also same thing. Buddha has also done the same thing. Baba Sahib Dr. B.R. Ambedkar has also done the same thing. Kabira has also done the same thing. So we have to be aware, even till date, in the contemporary scenario, now there is amalgamation of Brahmanical forces and power and the government. Now they are spreading inequality in different kind of fashion, in different kind of formulation, ideology, or you can say it is a demagogue. Demagogue is the right terminology for the Brahmanical forces and current government, because they say something else and they do something else. So what Ravidas, Phule, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Buddha, and Savitribai Phule, and many other, what they have challenged the oligarchy, this challenge to the oligarchy of Brahmis or elite as the form of cultural and spiritual realm must be rejected now. If we will not reject, or if we cannot resist them, then again our generation is going to be slave, because in this contemporary scenario, again there is a distortion from the literature and facts. So we have to be very cautious. What Saint Ravidas has launched his revolution, and we can of course say that this revolution was a revolutionary social revolution, because he was trying to eradicate problems, and he was trying to make a system which should be based on equality, liberty, and fraternity. So now, if if we want, if I can go in nutshell, if we want to really tribute to Sant Ravidas, if you want to respect, or if you want to tribute to Sant Ravidas, then what we should do? We should remember one thing, that whatever the philosophy which has been propounded in Buddha period, in Phule period, Savitribai Phule period, or Charvaka, or anyone, that is again continued to Ravidas, then up to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and this Bamse philosophy, Kansiram philosophy, and other philosophy, and that is coming to us also. So we must uphold the philosophy of equality. We must uphold the philosophy of equality, and we must deroot the Brahmanical system. And how it can be done? This tool has been given by Saint Ravidas, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Buddha, and all, because this philosophy of equality and socialism, and state socialism, which has been coined by Baba Sahib Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and other philosophical realm, has to be adopted and promulgated to the people of the country. That has to be mediated to the state, that has to be mediated to the nationalism, that has to be mediated to the spiritual realm of the country. Then we must be cautious, and we must adopt that philosophy, how we can eradicate the problems, and we can form Begumpura. Begumpura means the society which is based on equality, liberty, and fraternity. So I'll thank you everyone from India and from abroad who are watching this MNT News Network. This MNT News Network is really bringing the serious issues, and where serious discussions are going on. Please follow that. And if there is any question, you are welcome to ask.
Yeah, sir. Really, sir. Thank you very much for elaborating more detail about Sant Ravidas ji and his revolutionary social movement, as well as correlating his entire movement with respect to Buddha's equality and fraternity movement, as well as correlating the revolutionary ideas with other forefathers. So that was really a bridge between the old our history as well as the current history, because this is a continuation of continuation of ideas of humanity, equality, and fraternity. You had very nicely put it in one thread, and very nicely elaborated in a simple language. I think it was really helpful for the people, because most of the literature is available in Hindi, and when we are trying to see or generate a literature, we find it little difficult to get the literature in southern part of India, whether specifically English language. So our attempt was to create such type of literature, or translate such type of literature, so that very easily the other people to whom such a revolutionary ideological writer and thinker who had given a concept of Begumpura, a concept of equality, a concept of such a place where everybody are equal, and also he had given a voice to the voiceless people, who were the weavers, cobblers, barbers, butchers, washermen, and other art from the artisan communities. He stood behind all of them, and also he had exposed the basic root cause of the slavery, and also given the ways, what are the various ways to eradicate all the things, and how we can mitigate ourselves, how we can come out of this situation. So he had given the ways also by the concept of Begumpura. So, sir, we are almost toward the end of this session. We would like to take your final your views or your concluding remarks to our people, considering today's scenario. Basically, today also his revolutionary thinking should get continue, and people should not fall prey towards the bhakti movement of Sant Ravidas ji. Rather than they should pick up the revolutionary thinking, revolutionary ideas what Sant Ravidas ji had given. So, in that perspective, what message you would like to give to our viewers, to all our viewers, sir?
Yeah, again, I would emphasize one more point that Shintra Das was feminist also. Nowadays, many writings are coming that there were feminists from Vedas, there were feminists from other Brahmanical literature, but I must say that Shintra Das was feminist. He educated Mirabai in spite of several bindings and restrictions made to women. So in that scenario, Radas took pain and courage to educate a lady, and we can say he was a great feminist and he was a rationalist. Actually, he was logician. Why? Because he put logic to every reason. He put logic to every incident. So he was a logician, and what a society or we must understand that he was not propagating any bhakti movement. If anybody say that he was advocating for Ram, no. Actually, there was competition between Brahmanical and this non-Brahmanical forces. Brahmins were advocating that we are worshipping a god who is visible. That is a kind of idol worship. And Radas has propagated a theory that we are just accepting. We are just accepting an invisible identity that is called Nirguna and Saguna. Nirguna and Sagun. So don't try to relate him from God or any bhakt. Actually, he was challenging Brahmanical system that we accept invisible element or invisible thing. We are not accepting visible, this is idol. If any statue you are putting and saying that this is God or goddess, we don't accept it. Even Buddha has all the way rejected God. So in that direction, Sant Ravidas has given a proposition that we are following Nirguna system, not a Saguna. So what does it mean? What does it mean that what is a Nirguna and what is a Saguna? Nirguna and Sagun means they were just showing some idol or a statue that this is God and goddess, whereas Ravidas was telling that no, they cannot be God and goddess. And I don't accept this bhakti. If there is system, there may be system. And what is it called? It is called agnostic philosopher. I am trying to put a terminology that should be studied, that he was in a position just like an agnostic philosopher. agnostic philosophers or the philosopher who were just researching on God, whether God exists or not, what is the form of God, whether God is there or not. So that is the in process of research. Even Ravidas was also just similar researching, and he was just a kind of agnostic philosopher. He was not doing any bhakti. So we must be clear that he was not believing in God. Though if we are any follower of Saint Ravidas is going to make him God, then this is a blunder. Then our dream for Vegampura will not complete. So we must understand that Sant Ravidas has given a message of education. Please be educated. Be away from evils. Be away from superstition and blind faith. Fight for equality. Make organization be unite. And clearly he said that please try to understand the attribute and characteristics of Brahmins who propagate the Brahmanism. So this all, including everybody, I'm not telling the particular section, because this is ideology and philosophy does not belong to anyone or any community. This belongs to everyone. So I request everyone across the community, across the country, in India and abroad also, please think about his philosophy and his effort he has put for his life, and because of that he was murdered. If you see, before 5 to 7 years, there were people who were killed because they were educating science. They were educating people about science, about logic, about rationality. They have been killed. Even nowadays, before 5 to 7 years. So because of that also, Saint Ravidas was murdered. And there is a proof, there is a book also that is claiming that, means that book has been written by a scholar. That book name is Documentary Evidence of Assassination of Saint Ravidas. Documentary evidence is there. So we must understand that there was conspiracy against Ravidas. Then we can fight for justice and the philosophy which has been proposed and propagated, promulgated by Saint Ravidas. So that is the message I want to convey to everyone, including male, female, or any one whoever is there in the country and abroad. Please try to understand and try to do a quality literature survey and study on Sant Ravidas, so that more ideology, more philosophy, even more essence may come of his original work. I'm not trying to say that please put one additional or any other extra point. No. What we need to do that, we need to understand, we need to revisit the work and movement and activism done by Saint Ravidas.
Correct, sir. Rightly pointed out, and definitely this message what we had passed on will be our viewers will take it in a right perspective, and they will take this revolutionary movement of Sant Ravidas, spreading the ideology of humanity, spreading the ideology of equality, fraternity in the right perspective, and whatever is spread in the media, they will try to expose that one, and they will think rationally, they will think scientifically on whatever ideas of Sant Ravidas are propagated, and what his actual thinkings, his actual ideas were. Thank you very much, sir, for joining today and elaborating us more on the much required part of Sant Ravidas and his revolutionary movement, which is unknown in the southern part of the country in much deeper depth. So definitely, this today's information will help all the viewers who are in entire part of India as well as abroad to get the right thinking, right perspective, right revolutionary movement of what was fought by Sant Ravidas, and how he carried out, how he fought for the voiceless people. Sir, thank you very much once again. And again, we will invite you on different day, different topic to brief us on various social topics and various awakening topics which will help our viewers to get more information from you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Jai Bhim.
Welcome, welcome.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you to you
And
and your team and MNT News Network. Thanks once
yes.
again.
Thank you, sir. And with your permission, we would like to announce for tomorrow's topic. Tomorrow, as you know, from Monday to Saturday, we are organizing various topics in Hindi. And tomorrow also, we are going to organize one topic at 8:30 p.m. Tomorrow's topic, as you know, all that tomorrow is 11th of July. And 11th of July, we are organizing a topic which is related to the World Population Day. Tomorrow is World Population Day. So on that particular perspective, we have organized the topic tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. विश्व जनसंख्या दिवस व मूल निवासियों की बढ़ती समस्याएं. So we are trying to correlate along with the World Population Day, and we are trying to elaborate what are today's problems of the majority of people who are almost 85% of the country, and still they are fighting for their fundamental rights. So tomorrow on this particular topic, Mulnivasi Dr. Janmejay Kumar, he is going to awaken us. He is going to elaborate on this topic. And specifically, Dr. Janmejay Kumar is a Chikitsa Pradhikari in Sadar Hospital, Aurangabad, Bihar. So be with us tomorrow also at 8:30 p.m. And every day we are organizing these sessions at 8:30 p.m. And specifically Sunday we are organizing on in English. So this video will be available on Facebook and YouTube at this particular link. So you all are requested to watch it once again and spread this link in the entire social media so that other people who are part of our movement, who are part of our society, they will also come to know about Sant Ravidas ji and his social movement, revolutionary social movement, where his thought of Begumpura, his thought of equality, fraternity, and liberty. Thank you once again. Jai Bhim, Jai Mulnivasi, Jai Samvidhan, Jai Bharat.